Hey guys, today we're talking about the Fuji X100F versus the Sony A7 III. Now, I know there's a lot of buzz right now on Fuji cameras. The new XT3 just recently came out and everyone's acting like they were always a big fan of Fuji cameras and oh my god, jump on the Fuji train. Let's be real here. When you think Fuji, you think of Fujifilm. You think of film emulation. You don't really think of the cameras. Well, at least on my part, that's what I think of. But I decided today to kind of test out the Fuji cameras, see if they're actually worth any hype, and see if they're a good camera to, put into your workflow. Now the Fuji X100F seems like a really good blend of specs. It has 24 megapixels, awesome Fuji color science, and an old school throwback design. It's lightweight, it's perfect for street photography. It's a camera that looks really cool. It's a camera that you're gonna wanna take with you. And it makes you feel like you're shooting film. There's a manual aperture dial, there's a manual shutter speed, manual ISO. It's a camera that really wants you to take your time when you're shooting, get your composition right, get your settings right, and it's pretty killer as a camera. Image quality. When it comes to the 100F and the Sony A7 III, both have really good images. I'd have to say the Fuji 100F has a film-like quality. It has these awesome film emulations that you can kind of get the Fuji film colors. One of my favorite ones on there was the classic chrome. It's something that you definitely should try. I'm actually surprised at how much dynamic range the Fuji had. When I was in post editing the photos, I would push the image and it was holding up pretty well. If you really want a sharp image, you're gonna wanna go with the Sony A7 III or another DSLR camera. The Fuji is kind of trying to emulate film, and film has a softer image. Now, a few things I'm not a big fan of when it comes to the Fuji 100F. One would be the lens. I know it's a fixed lens on the camera. I know that it's a 35mm equivalent. Kind of wish you could switch the lens. A lot of times when I was shooting, I loved the image, but I was stuck with one lens. Another big thing that I wasn't a big fan of was there's not really any video functions. Yes, it shoots 1080p and it shoots 60p, but the autofocus in video is not that good and the video quality is pretty bad. It's not that good. Autofocus in the camera is another thing. I feel like when it does lock on subjects when you're shooting photography, it's great, but it's kind of slow, which is not a bad thing. If you're shooting with the Fuji 100F, you're gonna take your time with your images, you're gonna really take your composition into account when you're shooting, so that's not a deal breaker. But one of the things that was really weird to me with this camera was the sound. Every time you took a picture, it felt like you didn't take a picture. It felt like a tic-tac. It was like and that was just weird. Should you buy the 100F? To be honest, there's a lot of good cameras out there that for the same price point, I would prefer buying over the Fuji 100F. The Fuji 100F is about $1,400. The A7 III is about $2,000. And for the limitations the Fuji has, you're better off just going with the Sony. If you like this video, make sure that you share, like, subscribe, and comment, and hit us up if you have any questions regarding film or photography, and follow us on social media. I will see you next time.
I just want to say I used the Fuji camera and I thought it was super fun.
That's it?